Hey there, friends. Happy Tuesday to you. I have just finished a new, old ephemera book, and I wanted to show it to you guys. This is the 1941, The New People's Physician. When this book was originally a set of 8, published in 1941, and I'm going to show you the spine real quick. It says The New People's Physician, Victor Robinson, MD. I think that the spine is so interesting on this book. It's pretty darn elaborate when you look at it. It's totally beautiful, but crazy elaborate. I love it. The book is, y'all, this might be leather, it might not be leather. I really don't know. I did look at an entire collection of these that were intact. Of course, mine was not intact. It had the guts. It had the guts torn out of it. But the entire 8-volume set is around $700, and that's what kind of makes me think, maybe this is leather. I'm just really not sure, y'all. The button is a really sweet piece, and the button was made in oh, hold on a second, because I wrote it down. Scoville Manufacturing Company in Waterbury. I did glue the button onto the cover of the book, but I do not know if it's going to stay. I do not use E3000 glue because it's toxic. If the button does not stay, it is secured again with some vintage twine that I had. Okay, so if it pops off, it's gonna stay, y'all. I just have such fun. I have such fun playing with these books, you guys. I literally fall into a hole, and that's what I hope you do too when you get these books. Not that you fall into a hole, but that it will create curiosity about the periods that you're reading about, curiosity about rules and regulations, statistics. I am a naturally curious person, and a book like this just draws me in. I can see you guys purchasing it for friends. I can see you purchasing it for yourself. I can see it on your nightstand as something to peruse before you go to sleep at night. The way that I do these books might be a little different from everyone else. I do leave the original book tape kind of on the chippy inside spine of the book. I just think it adds to the whole aura of the book. It adds to the vibe of the book. Let's go through this, and I will show you what we have here. Again, I've done the make my own washi tape because, of course, 21st century washi tape is not going so great with a 20th century book, particularly one from 1941. So I did do my own washi again. The way that I do this is I use double stick tape, and this piece is from an 1851 book, the Agricultural Commerce Report that was given to Congress in 1851 and 1852. So let's take a look. Of course, vintage photographs for you guys. Does he not look like a physician? To me, he looked like a person who would have some medical knowledge. I really love his jacket. I love his coat, his gloves. He is obviously, friends, a gentleman. We have a National Wildlife Conservation stamp. I do have these stamps further on in the book, but this was just such a cool little memorabilia piece that I wanted to keep it. It's 1953. Right inside here, and of course, you guys have to deconstruct your pockets. The state of Nebraska, Seward County, notice is hereby given that on the 20th day of May, 1888, I filed, hold on a second, let me get my glasses. I filed in the office of the county clerk of Seward County, Nebraska, a petition signed by more than 30 resident freeholders of said K Township, said said county for a druggist permit to sell malt, spirituous, and vinous liquors for medical, mechanical, and chemical purposes for the period of 1 year. So it's really super cool. It's signed J.C. Harper. So who knows? You know, maybe this is J.C. Harper and he has a chemist license and he's a druggist and he's just moved to town and he's dating the, maybe he and the schoolmistress are having a torrid affair. You just don't know. 1888. Ooh, everything was so risque. Okay, see, that's how my head works. When I read stuff like this, it's an absolutely super cool, neato pocket. Again, I love the way he looks. He is so neat looking. 1941 Red Cross Home Nursing Manual. This features a photograph of what the sick room should look like, how it should be arranged. Of course, in 1942, y'all, people didn't just spirit their loved ones off to a hospital. Especially rural families, you just didn't do things like that. You took care of your loved ones at home. Also from the 1942 Red Cross Home Nursing Manual, the person who had this book wrote in the back, so she has noted a recipe for solutions, a recipe for a gargle. This part of this book is about how to take care of a communicable disease. The child that's described in this part of the book has scarlet fever. And it is the mom's duty to take care of the child. Thus, the Red Cross Home Nursing Manual. The whole story is remarkable, but I got to read you this part about Dr. Pierce. Maybe someday we'll have that kind of thing. Well, I do. Dr. Pierce stayed for an hour or more and instructed Mr. and Mrs. Keene how to arrange and equip Julia's room so that she would be isolated from the rest of the family, and Mrs. Keene could take care of her without spreading the disease. It's just an amazing look at what people did to take care of themselves. Dr. Pierce stood looking over the room with an air of satisfaction. Just keep in mind that you have two responsibilities. First, you want to give Julie the best of care so she will get well as fast as possible. And second, he emphasized each point by smacking the forefinger of one hand on the palm of the other. You must keep germs from leaving this room on hands, linen, dishes, food, body discharges, or flies. Crazy, isn't it? And the doctor is supervising all this. You know, the doctor has come in for more than 5 seconds. He's spent over an hour with them, instructing them on how to take care of their child who has scarlet fever at home. This is, you know, guys, I do not know exactly what this is called. This is graph paper from the way that heart monitors and pulse rates used to be measured in a hospital, and I just think it's super cool. It's some sort of graph paper. I know that's all done digitally now. So glad you're better. A get well card. This is a beautiful envelope. I do not know the year, but we can still see the seal, evidence of the seal right here, which is truly extraordinary. A 1920s-ish Valentine's card. It says, Cupid with his golden dart pierced our tender loving hearts. And this is a picture of David. He has signed it, Love, David, right here. This is 1900, a company that does sanitary plumbing and gas fittings. I just thought it was kind of, you know, when we think about sanitary plumbing and things like that, we think about when hospitals were being built. And I thought it just went really well with the, you know, with the cover of the book. If we're talking about health and wellness, then we are going to have a discussion about when people cross over or pass on or make their transition to non-physical, because that does happen in this realm. So I have included a bit of funeral ephemera for you guys, Because it's stellar beautiful. It's 1948. I got this book from a thrift store in Fort Mill, South Carolina. It is a funeral edition. It's meant to for you to note the flowers, well, not you, but people who are your family, to note flowers and pallbearers and, you know, the notices that were in the newspapers and that kind of thing. So it is truly a beautiful and spectacular piece right here. Very Art Deco, lest we forget. A little fold out for you. This is... I forget what year this is, but we can look. Oh, this is 1889, and it is from a ledger. I love it because it's modeled, and it's old, and it's yellow, and look, y'all can write on it. What would your pen feel like touching that paper from 1889? You know, that's a little pristine piece of paper right there. This is the envelope for the petition for a druggist permit. J.C. Harper filed May the 2nd, 1888, and that is the envelope that the other document came in. A marriage license from 1925, a wedding picture from 1942. This is a piece from 1966. I cannot date this. I do not know what it is, but my imagination went, these people got married, and they went on their honeymoon, and they lived happily ever after. Don't they look happy? It's beautiful. These are not copies of stuff, y'all. These are the real deal Lucille things. And then, of course, she would have written thank you notes for her wedding gifts. So we have a thank you note right here. Another awesome piece that pulls out. This is a bond on a liquor license. And I don't know how all of this works, but it's totally beautiful. I think this is still that, yeah, 1888. The druggist has a liquor license because liquor was medicine, friends. It still is medicine to some people. Another beautiful photograph, a vintage envelope under that. A really sweet, love this, really sweet little Christmas card. May the Christmas hours be bright and gay with laughter, fun, and joy and play. We think this is from the 20s or 30s. Another envelope, R.T. Cooper, County Clerk. This is the other side of the 1889 ledger paper. Now, I have squirreled away this ledger paper for a long time, and I think that it needs to be shared with you guys. I do have a lot still left in my stash that I have plans for, but I wanted to share. I wanted to make y'all as happy using it as it makes me happy using it. I love it. Another piece of funeral ephemera, life like a ship that's left its moorings and sails bravely out to sea, so someone dear has sailed away in calm serenity. But there's promise of a greater joy than earth could have in store, for God has planned a richer life beyond the unseen shore. This whole image reminds me of the image in Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, when Frodo and Bilbo get on the ferry ship and sail toward the horizon. And it's a very moving part of that movie to me. Another little piece of Get Well funeral ephemera. This is a card that was, the flowers were sent to Geneva Merrill at Mercy Hospital from the family of Mrs. Mary Carlton. And she's noted on the back, or one of her family members has noted on the back, beautiful bouquet of light pink and salmon colored carnations, red tulips, orchids, white and purple, in a beautiful white vase. So, you know, she just wanted to remember that. Either she wanted to remember it or her family wanted to remember it. An old marketing piece. This was a business card, woodenware, brooms and brushes, mats, painted tubs and buckets. Says best wishes. It is a gift enclosure that's never been used. More recipes for helping people get well. For cough, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice and a teaspoon of honey. We all know that really does work. It actually really, really does work. You know what else works? If you have a cough, pineapple juice. Pineapple juice really does work. This is an article about how to make life more enjoyable for the convalescent. It talks specifically about convalescent children. Usually need mild activity as well as amusement. They often enjoy collecting stamps, postmarks, match covers, buttons, and other objects. Special talents may be developed through all kinds of handwork, such as clay modeling, weaving, painting, and sewing. A scrapbook may be made for some other shut-in child. A basket may be made for a mother. Sewing may include hemming dish towels or making pot holders for the kitchen. When the child has recovered sufficiently to be out of bed, he may do many light tasks to help other members of the family. Usually he enjoys helping in the kitchen, where he may shell peas, string beans, beat the eggs for the pudding, write the grocery list, and other useful chores, which keep him mildly active and restore life to his weakened body. I love that. You're talking about something that is, that's 76 years old. How things have changed. If we're talking about a convalescent child or a convalescent in general, then we have to talk tomato soups and corn chowder and fish chowder, just soup for the convalescent. This is from the 1943 Metropolitan Life Cookbook, an assortment of soup recipes, and you've got 2 pages to peruse right there. Let me know if you make something from these recipes. I'd love to know about that. This is a statistic from the 1942 Red Cross Home Nursing Manual about infant and mother mortality. I think it's very, very interesting. A beautiful photo on a photo board of a baby in a christening gown. Absolutely gorgeous child, so alert and so beautiful. This is the person who owned the 1942 Red Cross Home Nursing Manual, and this page is very modeled, but she has put her name and her address right here. Another beautiful gift card enclosure, again unused. A sweet photo of another fella. I love his bow tie. I think he is so quite handsome. I love his mutton chops. I think they're super cool. Always reminds me of Dwayne Allman. This is 1882, a ledger sheet from 1882. I love it because you can kind of tell about life, because we have, this is definitely an agricultural setting, because we have mowers, we have rake arms, oats for the horses, grain for the horses, grain again, horses, labor charges. So it's just a beautiful overall look at a little slice of life in 1882 and what people were doing. 1851, I put this in here because it was an explanation of air quality. 1851, upon examining the atmospheric air which we breathe, we find upon submitting it to a chemical analysis that it is composed of 21 parts of nitrogen with so small a quantity of carbonic acid gas that its amount cannot be calculated in a given quantity of air. Yet, of course, an immense proportion must exist, for it is supposed that the atmosphere extends 45 miles at least in height and presses at the ratio of 15 pounds upon every square inch. This was discovered by Torricelli and Galileo in the 17th century. I just thought it was so interesting, like in this day and age of very, very poor air quality, that they're already starting to monitor air quality in 1851. And this is the Agricultural Commerce Report. A beautiful Valentine from the 20s. I love this because it is signed not with a fountain pen, but it is signed with a stamp. The person's name is Thea Chura, I cannot read the last name. Flasinaces, I can't read it. Another super old envelope back here, beautifully modeled. Another fold-out piece for you guys with some pristine paper for you to play with. I think this is gorgeous, from another ledger. The Sanitary Plumbing and Gas Fitting Company. How to meet emergencies in the home. Beautiful. I love the stamps here. This is a piece from 1885. More of the funeral ephemera that we have. This is a gorgeous handmade card. This is embossed. My spirit doth invariably pray any blessing God can give never be withheld from thee. And it is Christmas greetings to an absent friend. And this so beautiful, you guys. The full moon is up there, just embraced in the clouds. You can see the little church here. It is just an exquisite piece. This is a bill, and yes, it's Dr. Frank A. Greeley. It is his bill from 1894, and I think he did not get paid for his services, so he has rendered a bill to, yeah, it's a warrant bill. Amputating George Charcher's foot, $25. A visit was $3. Another visit was $3. So apparently these are follow-up visits to George losing his foot. Excuse me, you guys. A very old envelope with some doodling on it, some pencil doodling. I love things like that. Captain Air Corps Headquarters 360th Fighter Group, Muroc, California. And more of, I love this because it's all signatures. All signatures. These people were trying really hard to get their druggist. And there are signatures not only on this part of the paper, but that extend to another part of the paper that's been glued onto it to give it more writing room. To you in the hospital, peony, cheerfulness and grace. And this is a beautiful, has that shimmer sparkle to it. Absolutely stellar. Another little fold-out piece right here. Look at that handwriting, my friends. Sometimes it's hard to believe that I'm holding stuff like this in my hand. Where has it been? What's its history? Again, June 1888 is the date on this one. This is part of the Get Well card. A beautiful envelope. This is the other part of the letter right here. June 1943 was the envelope from the captain in the Air Corps. More of Dr. Greeley's account. The funeral ephemera over here. Heating milk to destroy bacteria. 3-minute boiling from the 1942 Red Cross Nursing Manual. How to prepare a milk formula or milk mixture for a baby. 1900. 1887. The Ball Blue Book of Canning. This is 1943, so I wanted to stick that in there for you guys. On the back of the Metropolitan Life Cookbook, there were 2 recipes. There was one for spaghetti. The back of the book was chipped apart, but I was able to rescue the recipes, and this one is for Easter eggs. 2 pounds of confectioner's sugar, coconut grated mix, dip in chocolate. So these are those coconut chocolate covered Easter eggs that somebody was making instead of purchasing at a store. This is the Conservation Corps 1953 National Wildlife Federation. Several little stamps for you here, and 2 cards, one of them as a parchment card, A Joyous Easter. Crazy beautiful. A guy, shepherd tending his sheep. look hand-colored. Alright, you guys, so there you go. Another sweet little ephemera book. I hope that you enjoyed this. I should have this in the store a little later on today. Thank you guys for listening to my stories. I hope that your curiosity is as piqued as mine is when I put these things together. Take care, y'all. See you soon.